Chat, was that the ugliest 26-point blowout maybe of all time ever?
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats post-game show live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. I am Damon Fairall, otherwise known as Damon Dog. He is Kevin Thomas, otherwise known as Kevo Post. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast. We are here at PHNX HQ3 in downtown Phoenix, and the #1 Arizona Wildcats. Stop me if you heard this before, Kevin. They won another basketball game in blowout fashion. The Wildcats take down Cincinnati 77-51 in what was a game that was 40-38 at one point, Kevin. I want you to look at that final score above your noggin, and I want you to do the math on what that score looked like at one point in the scoring run that Arizona went on, because it was absolute second half dominance from the Wildcats, 20-point blowout in the second half. Kerr Kriisa makes his legacy game return to McKale with 1 minute played and 0 stats accumulated. And the Wildcats get the job done, as you mentioned, albeit in maybe the most pleasant fashion, the prettiest fashion. But how are we feeling after another big time W, Kevin?
I feel great after this game, Damon, and that might not be the vibes of everybody in this chat. I do think for the most part, people are just happy that we got another W and it ended up being a 26-point blowout. But I do think that this was a W that proved a lot in terms of what Arizona is capable of. It was a challenge, and it was a test, as Carl said there in the chat. But it is a blessing that you can shoot as poorly as Arizona did tonight from the field and still win by 26 points. I mean, you got 2 for 10 from the field from Jaden Bradley tonight. You got 1 for 4 from Dwayne Aristode. You got 0 for 5 from Dell'Orso. And then you got 13 overall from Koa Peat. And you win by 26. It's unbelievable. The amount of balance that this team has is crazy. The amount of talent that this team has is crazy. And I know that some people out there see the numbers from 3 tonight, 3 for 13, just like the last game. There's a little bit of a slump going around this locker room right now, it feels like, as it relates to the deep ball. But it's not costing them a damn thing. They're able to play their way through it and win these games by 20-plus point margins, even though the shot is not falling. And like I said, I know that some people out there say that is how you get caught up in March, Kevin. I don't care what the last 5 NCAA champions shot from 3, and I don't care that Arizona has a better percentage right now, well, maybe not after this game, but right now, before this game, than half of them, right? That's just how it happens, and I get that. I get that you do need your shooters to come through for you in March, but man, it feels like Arizona can respond in so many more ways than just matching you with threes. It really feels like this is an Arizona team that if they're not having their best night from 3 in March, yeah, it's going to get scary. It was scary against Cincinnati. It was scary against TCU a little bit. It was worrisome against UCF a little bit, but not worried about them actually taking a loss in these games despite the lack of threes. And I know you and I go back and forth all the time, Damon, about the threes. Not all the time, but at least on the by the numbers segment.
It's been like
here.
The one main contention point we've actually had this season, because it's hard to find anything to really complain about when you have the #1 team in the country averages beating their opponents by about 25 points per game.
Yeah, but I do want to throw this back to you because that was my spiel on it. I feel like Arizona is doing just fine from 3 despite the lack of production the last month or so. I would say there's a slump going on, but I do expect that come March, we're hitting that average of threes per game of like 36 to 35% on, lower volume, but decent efficiency. Do you care that the boys are slumping from three right now? Or are you concerned otherwise?
I think when I look at this team and how they're built and the way in which that they beat opponents, even when they're not playing their A game, I sit there and I think like this must have been Tommy's vision, right? Like he going into, the off season or when he was going about building this roster, it had to somewhat feel like, we're going to be almost undeniably good, where like we're just going to dominate you in a way that is almost like an off night, quote unquote, doesn't really even equate to an off night because you're going to carry rebounding from game to game. You're going to carry elite defense from game to game, especially, when you have an absolute menace in Ivan Kharchenkov just flying around out there, just screaming in people's faces. Like that's going to carry over from night to night, despite what the offensive output looks like. I do think that Arizona is good enough to survive these type of games against anybody, really. But I also look at the schedule, Kevin, and I say, I think you need to play a little bit better than you've been playing in this last like 5 or so games against BYU in particular, or else you're in trouble. Because you look at the recent games that they've played, like TCU ends up being a 13-point win. That was a close game in the second half. UCF was a very close game. ASU was a 1-possession game with about a minute left. Cincinnati was, 40 to 38. Like these are not necessarily the cream of the crop in the Big 12 per se. But Arizona is somewhat playing in games with these teams. And yeah, they typically figure it out. And over time, their method and style of play like leads to what we saw tonight, a 26-point blowout win, because even when Arizona's not having their best offensive performance, they can still put up 77. And Cincinnati never has a good offensive performance because they stink at offense. And so, I think that it's good enough against most of the teams that you play. But I do worry when you play Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, Houston in a stretch of 4 games. What happens if you just go completely cold from 3? You probably aren't bulletproof anymore. So, I think it is somewhat dependent on what the schedule has been. Do you think that if they play like this, that like are you concerned at all about the BYU game in particular as you look onto the horizon?
Not specifically like as it relates to shooting. I'd be more like I'm just concerned about the BYU game from a sense of that's a hell of a team over there. I'm not really concerned about, well, if Arizona can't shoot, I don't think that it's going to be something that they can get done. But I do think that like not having your best shooting nights in these games against UCF, TCU, Cincinnati, right? I think it's helping Arizona learn more about what they actually have on their team, right? That was something they were talking about on the desk show on FS1 after the game. Of like, if you're Tommy Lloyd, this is kind of the perfect scenario. This is like a dream world for you as a coach. You're winning all these games, but yet you can really, if you're a coach, look at this game and say, damn, that was ugly as hell. And we got to get right back to it tomorrow morning. And you guys did not play good enough. Is that going to beat Kansas? Is that going to beat BYU? The answer is no, right? If you're Tommy Lloyd, that is what you're doing. And that's perfect because you got a lot of freshmen and you got a lot of teachable moments yet still. So I think that, does it concern me, the shooting going into BYU? No. I would just be concerned about some of these top Big 12 teams because they're some of the top teams in the country. But yeah, I think that Arizona is going to come right back to the average, man. Like Kharchenkov, I feel like is totally capable of hitting some open shots, some open threes in those big moments. Like I don't worry about him in making shots or not.
I almost feel better about him in big moments.
Yeah, right. Like he's that guy. He's him. Brayden Burries shot
our new
2
Pella
for 4.
Larson.
He is the new Pella Larson.
He's a little bit more athletic, I would say. And not to say Pella's not athletic because he is, but I think he's a little bit more of an elite athlete than Pella Larson is. But he really just fits that role and that mold to a T.
He really does. But you make 2 or 3 threes tonight as an entire roster. 2 of those come from Brayden Burries, and I think that is very encouraging. We're going to get to him being your leading rebounder tonight, which is unbelievable, especially considering the game that Motiejus Krivas played, which we'll also get to later. We have a super chat from Norin Rudin. You know what that means. That deserves one of these.
Whenever Norin's in the chat, man.
Whenever Norin's in the chat. Shooting percentages even out over the season, but Delly needs to turn off the brain. He's overthinking, and I say that with love because he's a fan favorite.
In regards to Delly, like he's not even close. That's the issue. Like he airballed a 3 And then like he had another decent look and he hit like back iron. Like it would be one thing if they were going in and out. And I think in previous few games, like some of them were going in and out and you're like, it's a good rep. What can you do? This game, you could tell that was a mental, lapse tonight from Anthony Dell'Orso, who's just trying to force the issue a little bit too much. And hey, and guess what? I was wrong on the pregame show. I thought he'd have a good game, being back at McKale at home. Like, role players typically, especially shooters, play better when they're on their home floor. Not the case. Delly is not in a good spot right now, Kevin.
Yeah, it does feel like he needs to turn off the brain. I'm not in Delly's brain. Like, I can't tell you if he's overthinking or not, but it does feel that way when he's out there playing. Because he is, like I think of that three he shot from the logo against TCU, where he had it in the end of the shot clock, and he had no choice but to just throw it up there, and look at that. It went in. So, yeah, I do think more shooting, less thinking for Anthony Dell'Orso on that side of things.
You'll figure it out. I think, I feel similarly to how I felt about, not that they're the same caliber of player, but like when Brayden Burries was not playing his best basketball early in the season, Kevin and I weren't up here being like, man, we didn't get what we thought we were getting in Brayden Burries.
Not as advertised as 18-year-old.
Yeah. I think we both were saying, like, give it a little bit of time. He's a guard. It's probably a little bit harder for a guard versus like a Koa Peat style, just like power forward, and power will underline it, emphasize it. You know what I mean? Like the dude's strong as hell and he's just going to dunk on people, and that's going to translate to any level of basketball. I think that, Brayden Burries was always going to figure it out. And I feel similarly about Anthony Dell'Orso. Like, yeah, the shots aren't falling right now. That won't last all season long. He's too good of a shooter for that to last.
Way too good of a shooter. And we do have another super chat. I don't want to gloss over that before we go. Another air horn. J-Cash 23. First time seeing the Wildcats in Tucson, and Tobe Awaka is such a handful in the paint. Cue the Doctor Strange gift. Box score does not show the second chances he creates being active. And you're 1,000% correct. It feels like if there's a missed layup on either end of the court, Tobe Awaka makes it his life's mission. His main modus operandi is to get at least a hand on the ball. If he can't get both hands on the ball, and if he can't just fully rebound it, his goal is to at least get a hand on it.
Kevin, did you see the speech that was going around today from the Cardinals head coaching candidate, Anthony Campanelli?
No.
So he had a popular speech on Hard Knocks when he was with the Dolphins, where he was sitting there, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat saw this today because it was resurfacing. But he's sitting up there. He's like the most Italian guy ever, right? And he's up there, and he's like, imagine somebody's trying to take your family.
Okay.
And he's like, and that's how he's trying to make his players play hard. He's like, they got your wife and kids. What are you going to do about it? And he's screaming at him, right? That's how I imagine Tobe Awaka is with rebounds. It's like, no, if I don't get that rebound, like this is my whole family's life is on the line right now. Mm-hmm. It means everything. I will destroy you to get that basketball. And that's what you love about Tobe Awaka. You're right. Like it does feel like life's mission is the perfect way of putting it, because that's how every rebound feels.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about
quote graphic.
We talk about Ivan Kharchenkov as like a sleeper agent, as like a guy who's woken up to play this game and then put back to sleep until the next game. I feel like Tobe Awaka might actually be the guy that's like cryogenically frozen in between these games and is just rolled out there to destroy. I mean, he is. I've said this before to you while watching the game, because I don't really want to say it too much on the pod, because it sounds like I'm accusing him of being dirty, right? But I'm not. But, like, he's just bowling dudes over, but not because he's trying to play nasty. He's just so much more massive than the opponents that he's contacting that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If Tobe Awaka bumps you, I'm sorry. It's over. You had a good run on the planet, but you're cooked. It's over. You're done. No one can survive Tobe Awaka full speed.
I'd be in a hospital bed.
Yeah,
I'd be that guy in SpongeBob who has a cast on every single part of his body if I tried to box out, and crash the rebounds with Tobe Awaka. But yeah, I mean, it's, he really is a special player especially when you watch him live too. Like the dude is just nonstop working, and there's no better like role player, sixth man in the entire country to have than a guy like Tobe Awaka. But getting back into, kind of the topic at hand with the shooting, did you have any further thoughts, Kevin, on just Arizona's, I don't want to call it an inability, because they really do at times show that they can shoot. They just don't do it with consistency, right?
Yeah, they don't do it with consistency. And it's something that we're going to have Saul here after our next break coming up. But it's something I want to ask him more specifically. But I will say, I feel like this team is going to, like I said earlier, they're going to be all right from three, right? And as I'll give you this before we get back and go to our first break here of the night, the last 5 national champions, Damon, I'm just going to read you their 3-point percentages at the end of the year, right? As a team. Florida in 24-25, 35.5%. UConn the year before, 36.7. UConn the year before that, 35.7. Kansas 21-22, 35.5. Arizona entering tonight, 36.5. And if that's not damn right in the middle of those numbers right there, like,
then you got to recheck your math.
You
Kevin.
do. And I think that, in my opinion, like, I forget who said it earlier in the chat, but it was also, I think, a part of Noren's super chat of like, numbers are going to do the number thing and return to, they're going to do the bell curve thing where they go all the way out and they come all the way back in. And I think that's what's going to happen with Arizona's threes. And I said it to someone on Twitter. I'd rather Delly and some of these other guys that are struggling to find consistency with their shot, I'd rather them struggle with it in January and February and figure it out than have to do this process in March, Big 12 tournament, or even later. But yeah, that is kind of my take on it. Not too concerned. I think they'll bounce back from 3. And I'm more so happy that you can shoot so poorly from 3 and still blow a team out by 26. Right. So
I think and we'll end it here and get to our first break. But I think that it goes to what our headline for today's show is, which is Arizona is like it's almost a chameleon type team. Like they could blend to whatever type of environment you want to play, because every style, every pace, defense is going to be important. Rebounding is going to be important. High efficient looks, shots in the paint are going to be important. And that happens no matter what style of play Arizona's opponent wants to play against. So I just feel like this team it can beat you in a multitude of different ways. They're so special in that regard. And you see that tonight with a performance that we're not all that happy about, and you win by 26. I'm sure Tommy Lloyd feels similarly. Shout out Nick Hart here in the chat, $2 super chat. Love Kharchenkov, favorite player for sure. I'm sure that you're not alone there, Nick, because I think that my co-host feels pretty darn similarly, especially when we watch these basketball games. But we're going to talk a little bit more about Ivan Kharchenkov, that very special display of defense and just hype that we saw from that guy tonight, and so much more right around the corner with our guy Saul Bookman. So do not go anywhere and leave a like on this video.
I got to talk to the people, Damon, about Phoenix Raceway, because there is a very unique, dare I say, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity entering your vicinity as of this very spring, March 5th through March 8th, an experience like no other. NASCAR, for the first time ever, is going to be racing with NTT IndyCar Series at the same race weekend at Phoenix Raceway, and you can get a front row seat to it all. How front row can you get? I'm talking camping options available. You got an RV? Bring it down to the Phoenix Raceway. If you upgrade your experience, like I said, you can camp all week long with your RV, you and your crew out there, the sights, the sounds, the smells of Phoenix Raceway. It's incredible. Want the best that motorsport has to offer? They do have upgraded experience available, which means you get to go inside the garage, walk the track, meet the drivers, and catch a pre-race concert. The 2026 Spring NASCAR Weekend at Phoenix Raceway is making history, like I said, so secure your seats now at the link in our show notes below.
Truly a very unique sporting experience that everyone has to give a try, Kevin. But I got to tell you guys about a unique headwear experience that is just going to change your life. And it's Branded Bills. You see me rocking it. You see Kevin rocking it. Kevin's got a great campus collection hat on. I have, of course, one of the custom PHNX sports pieces that we have on our All-City locker. Guys, you're going to have to check out Branded Bills for yourself, whether it's, an Arizona Wildcats hat for you or someone that you care about, or you just want something custom for your small business or something that you're trying to promote. Branded Bills is the only place to go to. They have premium headwear and apparel, snapbacks, fitteds, truckers, beanies, you name it. They got it when it comes to headwear. They even have t-shirts that they're coming out with, even some hoodies down the line, Kevin. So Shout out Brandon Bills. Very special stuff going on over there in Mesa, Arizona. Local company. We love supporting local. And like I said, they have over 40 partnerships with different universities as part of their campus collection. We only care about one, though. The best Arizona Wildcats headgear in the game. Check it out for yourself. BrandonBills.com. Use promo code BBPHNX and get 15% off your first order. Again, that's BrandonBills.com. Promo code BBPHNX.
Shout out to our friends over at Branded Bills. And a very special shout out to our guy, Saul Bookman, coming to us live from the McKale Center. Saul, how are we doing tonight? How are the vibes?
I mean, the vibes are good. I mean, you got the undefeated #1 team in the country. The vibes are always going to stay high until they drop one, which they will do. They will do. Everybody get prepared. They will do, because they got, we've already talked about it at length. We're going to probably talk about it really much more after Saturday's game against West Virginia, because Monday, to me, is when the gauntlet starts with BYU. And listen, you got road games at BYU, road game at Houston, you got road game at Kansas, and then you got to play Kansas, Tech, BYU, and Iowa State all at home. That's 7 games against teams in the top 25, and 5 games against teams in the top 15, and 4 games against teams in the top 10. I mean, Jesus Christ, what else do you need? So listen, they're inevitably going to have a stinker at some point. I would argue that tonight was kind of a stinker. They didn't play clean, especially in that first half. And I want to go back to one specific point. You guys were talking about 3-point percentage and the former national champions and all that good stuff. I want to say, I want to bring up one kind of important stat. All right. Arizona under Tommy Lloyd has always had efficient offenses with Tommy Lloyd. Matter of fact, according to evanmia.com, they have never finished outside of the top 10 in offensive efficiency during Tommy Lloyd's tenure here at the University of Arizona. Never. However, this is the first year that they are currently and may finish the season in the top 5. So they've never been better than 6th, anywhere from 6 to 10 range. Okay. The other teams that have the national champion has always been in the top 5. So when you're talking about why this team might be different than last, Wildcat teams of the past, it's because they are far more efficient and they don't have to rely on the outside shooting as much. And so when you have cold nights like this, they can find other ways to score. And a big reason for that is obviously the points in the paint and also getting to the free throw line, 2 key variables of how physical you are on the offensive side of the ball.
So one of the biggest, quite frankly, one of the bigger reasons statistically why you don't have as many 3-point makes as maybe Arizona fans may be expecting is, one, Anthony Dell'Orso has not been pitching in his usual contribution to that hat bucket right there. But I don't know I can't speak for Anthony Dell'Orso in terms of what's going wrong with him out there in these games. But as you see it, Saul, like what's going on with Delly? I know we've talked about it on a couple post-game shows now, but he just can't seem to get any consistency, at least on offense. I know Tommy Lloyd was talking about how he's playing more well-rounded, but his shot's just not falling. How do you see Anthony Dell'Orso's most recent stretch?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a couple things. I think first, he has just not been able to get into a good flow offensively at all. And for whatever reason, I could tell when he's going to miss every single shot. And it's mostly because he has a truncated release, which means from the side. Let me see if I can do this. All right. So when he's releasing the ball, I don't see full extension. Okay. I don't see, like, the way, I was taught growing up is you got to think about it like when you're shooting the ball, think about, for you young kids, remember the old school phone booths that you had to pay a quarter, they still have those in London, by the way. You would act like when you shoot, you're trying to drop or you're trying to pick up something on the other side of that little container, right? When I see Anthony Dell'Orso release his shot, he's got kind of he's got a little bend in his arm. And when his hand is releasing, it looks like it's not following through all the way. And it's a subtle difference, but I think that small little difference can mean a lot, especially when you got defenders running at you that are lengthier, a little bit more athletic, and you got to get that shot off quick. So it looks like he's rushing the shot instead of like really just taking his time and making sure that everything's following through. When you look at TCU, One of the key baskets in that game when Arizona was kind of, they gave up the lead. I think it was maybe it was cut to like 7 at that point, but TCU was trying to make a run. And Delhi hit that big 3 from I guess it seemed like the hash mark, full extension buckets. And so that's what you want to see from Delhi moving forward. Now, again, everything is every style is a little bit, unique. So that's just a subtle difference. And I just think his legs, he needs a little bit more lift on his legs. That's usually the number one indicator if you're falling short on your shot. And a lot of times he airballed a shot tonight. I think that's a lot to do with your legs.
And in terms of players that maybe are not slumping, dare I say, are absolutely on fire, we've talked about Motiejus Krivas all season, right, Saul? And in terms of where he could get better, how he could improve, and then you get into non-conference and you realize, okay, there are some improvements being made. He's still not quite all the way there, but he's shaking off the rust. You get into Big 12 play, dare I say he's becoming a dominant force night in, night out at this point, right? Against UCF, I believe it was. I contended that first half might be the best half he's ever played in Arizona uniform, and then he follows it up tonight with a performance that, honestly, I'm not going to say I was surprised to look at it, but I was surprised to see how efficient it was, right? 17 points, 9 rebounds. My question to you is, Saul, how much better can Mo Krivas get yet still this season?
Okay.
Like, are we close to the ceiling with Mo Krivas, or are we?
No,
still...
but I think that there's an emotional and mental level that he can still get to, and that's not going to come until he plays one specific team in this league, and that's going to be Houston. Because Houston will test your will, Houston will test your soul, and Houston will make you think, do I really want to play basketball anymore? Like, that's the kind of team they are. They just get after it, and they will test you physically in any way you could possibly think of. If he can get through that game, play well, play strong, play confident, then Mo Krivas will go to another level that I don't even think any of us could even fathom. But he could also go the other way. And so that's the game, in my opinion, that matters the most to Mo Krivas. Iowa State, they're physical, but they're not really as physical as Houston. There's no team in the country that's as physical as Houston. And there hasn't been a team that's as physical as Houston since Kelvin Sampson got there. There just hasn't been like that. This is the first U of A team that can match that physicality man for man, and really bow up and man up against that team. So that's really the team that I'm looking forward to seeing Mo Krivas against. Up until then, BYU, it's not going to be the same. Now, he will get tested with Keita. He will get tested with Keita because Keita is about that life. Let's not, no misconception here. However, the team as a whole is not defensively as sound, all the way around. So Houston is really the team that I'm looking for. But I do think that Krivas has slowly built confidence time after time. Every outing, he gets a little bit more. He gets a little bit better, and he's starting to build a nice little repertoire down low. Still brings the ball down low a little too much for my liking. But he's working on it. He's working on it. He's getting better. And he's, more than anything, he's learning how to get through it when he does make those mistakes and not let it dwell. And that's the thing. You don't want it to carry over from one possession to the next. And he's not doing that.
One more thing about Mo Krivas that I wanted to ask you tonight. What did you see from him specifically in this game against Cincinnati? Because he earned our king of the court, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 stocks in this one. So, Saul, what did you see from Arizona's big man against Cincinnati's front court?
Well, there was a possession where he got the ball down low on the block, and he missed a shot. And then the next time down the court, didn't even hesitate. Grabbed the ball, turn around, hook shot, boom, got it. Move back to the other end of the court. And that right there, that little snippet told me, okay, Krivas is in a good headspace. This is what we need from him. Like, don't, all because you miss a little, a little gimme, a little baby jumper, doesn't mean that you're not the best option the next time down the court. And sometimes when you're playing these big dog teams, sometimes the Jaden Bradley's going to get doubled. Sometimes Koa's going to get doubled. Sometimes these other guys get doubled. And if you're afraid to pull the trigger, despite the fact that you got the mismatch, you hurt your team more than you help it. And so I think Krivas has been told that multiple times by Tommy Lloyd and his staff. And I think he's actually trying to put that into action. So that's a key variable for him.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that about Houston because I've been saying that for a while on this show, Kevin, that like my litmus test for essentially the entire team is what do you look like versus Houston? Because that has been the bogey team of this program for, I want to say, since Tommy Lloyd has taken over. You think about Tommy Lloyd's first team, how good that Ben Matherin team, Christian Coloco, Azulis Tabelis was, and they get skunked by Houston, and Houston's first real like burst onto the scene as a program nationally type of moment.
Dude.
I mean, that team was a lower seed and they had losses.
Sitting there watching Arizona come out and then watching Houston come out, I was like, before the game even tipped, I was like, oh, dude, we're so screwed. This is not happening. I knew it wasn't happening. Dude, those dudes, like, listen, I love Ben Matherin and those guys. Like I do, like we all do. We hold them in high regard. However, they weren't about that life. Not that night they weren't, because those dudes were some grown-ass men. I swear they all had mortgages and 401ks when they came onto that court that day, because they were like, man, it's either my house or I'm homeless. And they were not about to sell the house. Like, that's just what they were about.
And we were playing Pac-12 hoops. We were playing Pac-12 hoops at that time. And now I think that you see the transition to being a Big 12 program where Tommy's like, we got to emphasize physicality and, matching the Houstons of the world. And I think last year you see the Gritty Boys team and, those guys it was not lack of effort. It was not lack of intensity and that part of the physicality, but you're right. They just they didn't have the level of athleticism that this team has. And I don't think that you truly know what this Arizona team, like, I mean, they're obviously fantastic, but I'm saying, like, what are they made out of when they play against the Houston Cougars? Because I think that for me is the real litmus test for not just Mo Krivas, but for everybody.
Can I be honest, though, before we get even further into that conversation? One guy that I feel like, and maybe y'all disagree, but one guy I don't got a question going into that game, whether or not he's built for it, whether or not he got that dog in him, whether or not he going to put the effort, the fight, the toughness into the game, the passion, our boy. I know Saul, we had the my guys draft. I think it's a point where we can just, as a fan base, this is our guy. Ivan Kharchenkov.
No, you get to claim him.
I'm saying
claim him because I'm claiming Koa Peat, and I'm not sharing Koa Peat with anybody when Koa Peat goes off on night one. So I'm going to let you have that W, Kevin.
Okay. Well, we do have an AZ Cat Dan 1 super chat.
Wait, Kevin.
It's Saul's guy. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Did you pick
my guy?
I believe so.
Don't you dare pass him
Kevin,
off.
I thought you got Kharchenkov and first two.
No, I mollywopped you guys. I got Jaden Bradley, Kharchenkov, and Krivas.
You did.
He did. Yeah, he went crazy. He did go crazy that night. But we do have a super chat.
All right,
$5.
Then you know what? Plant your flag. That's your guy.
Hey, listen, I do want to say this real quick. I was gifted something today. This is very special because I did not know that this was coming. But it says to Saul, pop the trunk. Wow. And I'm just gonna flash this. It's from it's from a family of one of the guys on the team, which you're gonna figure out who it is.
If you know, you know. Pop in the trunk. If you know, you know.
Dude, listen to this, man. Look at this. Look at this beautiful
Oh, that's tough.
jersey.
Yeah, that's tough.
Look at that beautiful thing.
That's
Oh my
cold.
God, dude.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, listen. Much thanks to
who gave it to you? You said it's from one of the families. I can't tell.
To the fam.
Burries, the Burries family has a history of giving out jerseys. Burries Muse.
Yeah. So no, listen. They listen to the pod. Fans of the pod, appreciate that. And listen, McKale Madness, I said this at the very start of the season, has been known as the Jaden Bradley podcast. Like, that's
Correct.
just what it is. And I think that is starting to become well known, and I do appreciate that. And mad love. I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a really cool gesture, and I did not see that coming. So that was pretty cool.
No, that's incredibly cool.
Anyway,
pop the trunk.
Sorry to do.
Luckily, we didn't have to pop the trunk tonight, Saul. And as we were talking about, part of the reason why we didn't have to do that was because Ivan Kharchenkov was out there absolutely hooping. Quote, pop the trunk. But yeah, I mean, look, Ivan Kharchenkov, the man's an absolute dog. Fires up just about everybody within a 10-mile radius of the McKale Center. Can you talk to me about, like, because I feel like we do this Ivan Kharchenkov dance once every post game, but I'll change it up with this nugget. Talk about the energy he brings as a freshman, as a first year player in this program, to kind of like, I feel like he really got Arizona through with his energy in some points in this game.
You got McKale up, it
Oh,
seemed.
oh yeah, 1,000,000%. There was dead moments in this. I mean, not dead. I mean, the crowd was, they were into it, but like it's hard when they don't have a run of death to really jump out of your seat, right? There was a moment where Kharchenkov made a couple plays and it was a dead ball and they're going to timeout, and Kharchenkov he sprints over to the student section and gets them hyped up, and he's hyped up, and then the next time down he like makes a play and it deflects off of a Cincinnati player and it's our ball, and he's just stomping. He's just hyped up. Like the student section fed off of that. And that's really, I mean, that was right in the middle of when Arizona was starting to pull away. And that's vital. And it does, listen, especially when you have guys like Koa Peat, Brayden Burries, and the young guys who have not been in this environment for very long. That enthusiasm matters. And listen, I will say this, and maybe I'll catch a little bit of heat. I think, considering Arizona is the #1 team in the country, that the McKale Center crowd has been a little not complacent, but they haven't been as lit as normal. They were lit against ASU, that was for sure. But outside of that, at the beginning of the Auburn game, and then Auburn got blown out, and then there was no real reason to like get too crazy excited. Now, when we flip the script to February, I can only imagine what this place is going to sound like. It's going to sound worse than it was for ASU, louder, more intense. The students will be far more into it. But even like in the timeouts, like it's like, all right, maybe I'm old and I'm losing my hearing and it's not as loud as it used to. I don't know what is going on. It's just, I don't know what's going on. So it does feel like we're just kind of like going through the motions. I feel like this crowd has played like Arizona at times on the court, where it's professional. It's professional. It just, hey, we expect you to do that. Good job. And then we move along. Now, when they play against the Iowa States, the Houstons, and the BYUs of the world, that'll change, because those guys can bring it, and you better bring it too. And the crowd will know that, and they feel it. Listen, one thing about McKale is that the fans always know when to say when. They always do. They're the best. They're some of the best and most educated fans in the country. If you go to Suns basketball games, those fans are not the same. Like, they're just not. I love Suns fans, but they're not the same. Sometimes you don't know when to pick it up. These guys do. These fans do. So,
we are now on the surface of the sun here at PHNX HQ3, but yeah, sometimes the lights pop on us. So yeah, nothing to be too concerned about. Kevin's in a battle with it right now. But while we're on the topic of the crowd, Saul, I did want to ask you about one moment that happened in the game. And of course, we were all awaiting the return of one Kerr Kriisa to McKale Center tonight. When he checked in, he only played 1 minute. Kevin mentioned off air that he looked like a chicken with his head cut off in that 1 minute of play, but he got his return to the floor. But he was booed in the process. What did you make of that entire, I guess, ordeal?
Got a tribute video.
Yeah, so he got a tribute video about the 20-minute mark. I mean, hell, like only a quarter of the Zona Zoo was even here. I mean, to be honest, like, how many people in the Zona Zoo were even here for Kriisa, right? Like, maybe some of them, because it's been a couple years. But the fans reacted. They gave him a standing ovation, and he even shed a tear. It looked like he kind of went like that, and it was a cool video. But it was so fast, it was so quick. It was like 15 seconds long, and that was it. But he's been injured, and yesterday was his first game, or his first practice back. So I think Coach Miller put him in there as kind of like, go get one kind of thing, but he just wasn't ready. Yeah.
Coach Miller felt weird.
I know. It's just my bad. The Cincinnati head coach. And so, like, it was just, he just wasn't physically able to play at the level that they needed him to play. And he's important for their long-term future this season. He needs to get healthy so he can help contribute to the Bearcats. And listen, the Bearcats are a good team. They didn't shoot well tonight, and they didn't play well tonight, but they have beat good teams. We saw that last week. So They beat Iowa State, for crying out loud. So what else do you need to see? So
Did he receive
he'll
a
have more
cheer
run.
after the tribute video? Would be my question.
Yeah, I said some people gave him a standing ovation.
And then
Yeah.
obviously when he got presented into the game, they booed him.
I
don't mind that. I think if you are willing to praise when they do the tribute video, and then when he goes onto the court, he's an opponent and you're messing with him, and he's the type of guy who likes to get in his opponent's heads, and that's his game. And I think that it's almost a little bit of like, well, Kerr, we're playing like how we used to play. It's fun. It's us.
To be honest with you guys, you probably would pick up on that more than I did, because in the moment, like I looked down my computer screen, I looked up, he created a foul and he was out of the game. Like it was so fast. He wasn't in for very long at all. So like I don't even think the crowd even had a chance to absorb that he was even in the game. So I think on the broadcast, they're going to point it out. They're going to ISO the camera and all that stuff. So it's a little easier to see on the broadcast. But here in person, I honestly didn't even hear any boos like to that degree. So it was pretty subtle. It was quick.
It might have been a little bit of Hollywood magic, a little bit of movie magic there, Saul, because they did do the ISO shot like you said, but it was audible on the broadcast.
They boosted the sound a little bit.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe they took the decibels up a couple, because we heard audible boos. We heard audible boo.
Maybe they had a boo button.
Like boo. Or like the people that were booing were close to the camera or whatnot. I don't know. But Saul, the last thing I personally wanted to ask you about tonight's game was, this was the 7th highest rated defensive efficiency team in the country coming into tonight. And, I mean, Arizona put up 77 on them in the end, held them on the other end of 51. Their offense is not very much to mention. But from a defensive aspect, can you try to tell us what makes Cincinnati so strong on that end? What makes them such a hard team to contend with on the defensive end?
They're lengthy. They're quick. I thought that they presented, an athletic challenge to Arizona. And listen, I think what Cincinnati does better than most teams is they can make you kind of second guess your action. And that's what happened tonight. Like there was a couple opportunities, when Arizona was assertive, I feel like they got what they needed to get. Now they might not have made the baskets. And I think at the first half, when they were assertive, they weren't finishing.
Light show.
We got a light show on your end too, Saul. See, it's not just us. It's your fault too.
It trickled down from Phoenix to Tucson. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so they can make you second guess your action because of their length. And I think that's what happened tonight. But once Arizona kind of got more comfortable, and really when they started pushing the tempo, I have some notes that I do want to bring up. But that's about Cincinnati's defense. That's kind of what I saw. Like they just kind of make you second guess. My notes. All right. So I'm going to try and bring notes to every single post game. First,
I love it.
The missed free throws, for crying out loud. Make your free throws. Looking at you, Koa Peat. Come on.
20 of 28 tonight, Arizona.
Yes, but like 6 of those were
correct. Yeah, 3 of 7 from Koa Peat tonight.
Yeah, not great. All right. And the 1-on-1s matter, right? Like he missed the front end of a 1-on-1, and there you missed out on 2 points. Number 2, there was a part I think about maybe the 12-minute mark, steal, and there's 3 guys on the fast break, 3-on-2. But their spacing was absolutely piss poor, and it prevented them from getting a nice, easy layup, 3-on-2, 2-on-1 kind of situation. So they had to pull it out, and then they ended up not getting a bucket there. I'm like, oh my gosh, the fundamentals of a 3-on-2 fast break, for the love of God, get your spacing, get wide, go to the rim, look for the lob. You got Jaden Bradley, one of the best point guards in the country, that's going to make the decision. And then if all else fails, we'll just pull up from the free throw line, cash it, we go back to the other end. But no, everybody wants to hug so close down the lane. So there's not really like one guy can guard all 3. Guys, spread the F out, please. Okay. Number 2. Sorry. Number 3. It's the small things, okay? Multiple times Cincinnati cut it to 2 or cut it to 4, especially in that second half. And there was a couple instances where the first one was, what do I have? Burries followed up a Jaden Bradley layup miss with his own putback. Okay. Multiple Cincinnati defenders around. Nobody goes to get the rebound. Jaden Burries putback, follow up, bucket, puts it back up to 4. And then a short time later, Brayden Burries goes, misses, and who's right there to clean it up? Toby Awaka. And if you go back and look at that replay and you see Toby Awaka's putback, there are literally 4 Cincinnati defenders surrounding him on that putback. Like, hey, how bad do you want it? It's those small little things that extend the lead. And the next thing you know, you look for the scoreboard, you're down by 12. You're like, damn, I thought we were playing pretty good. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm looking at that, I'm feeling like, hey, we're both shooting 30%. We both can't hit any threes. And at the time, Cincinnati and Arizona were kind of neck and neck on the rebounds at like 19. And then all of a sudden you look down, you look up and you're down by 12. You know why? Because it's the small things that matter. And if you don't do the small things, you'll continue to lose games in the manner that in which you lost tonight, Cincinnati. And that's basically Arizona's recipe for success. They out hustle you, they out physical you, and they do the small little things, the intangibles that really make a difference and win games. And then the last one I have, and again, maybe I'm harping on Koa Peat a little bit, but Koa Peat has big expectations. And the better Koa Peat plays, the higher our ceiling goes. And Koa Peat, now 2 games in a row, has found himself on the wrong side of foul trouble and sitting out large stretches of the first half. He played 10 minutes in this game. The last game, he also got into early foul trouble and had to sit out. And that does your team no favors. And what's happening is a lot of times he's falling back into those high school habits of dropping your arms and not getting your feet into position and using your physicality to try and get physical with the players instead of putting your hands up and moving your feet. And he's got to do a little bit better. Now, after he picked up his 3rd foul, I swear after that, he never made that mistake again. But guy, you can't do that in the first half either, especially against the good teams that you're about to face, because I'm telling you, BYU is going to attack you. Offensively, they are going to attack you. AJ DeBonta played with you in Colorado Springs in the under 19 and went with you all the way to Sweden and won a gold medal with you. He knows
y'all shared a room. They were roommates.
He knows what he needs to do against somebody like Koa Peat and what he can't do against somebody like Koa Peat. And I promise you, they're going to do the same thing to Koa to test him and see if he's really learned his lessons. So will Houston. So will Texas Tech. So will Kansas. They know Koa Peat is a major factor if he gets going. So how do you neutralize that? You attack him hard and see if he's got his fundamentals about you. So Koa Peat, obviously, still a freshman. These are the freshman tendencies we talk about. We've seen him with all the freshmen at various times this season. Tonight, it's Koa Peat's turn to feel the wrath a little bit.
For more notes from Saul's Notebook, we got McKale Madness tomorrow night on this channel at 7 p.m. Saul, Corey, me, behind the scenes, making it happen. I know I said I had one last question for you, and I asked you that question, and then I kind of lied because I do have one additional question for you.
Sure.
We've been talking about Brayden Burries being an underrated rebounder.
It's fine,
feel
Kevin.
like
I didn't have any extra questions for Saul, so you go ahead.
I'm saying earlier. I will say I worded it in a way where I was like, I'm out. I'm exhausted. And then I was like, I actually have found another question of energy left.
No, it's funny because I actually wanted to ask Saul about Koa Peat's foul trouble. That was the one question I had left for Saul, and he went ahead and did that for me. So
the chemistry is just on this podcast. The chemistry keeps getting higher.
This is where we're all on the same wavelength right here. Don't apologize for that. I love these post-game notes.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, Saul, about Brayden Burries being an underrated rebounder because we talked about it in the preseason. I believe there was a preseason exhibition game where he had 11 boards and was Arizona's highest rebounder. Tonight he has 10, a double-double, and leads Arizona in rebounding. Am I insane to feel like he is pound for pound, like inch for inch on the height thing, one of the best rebounders on this roster? Am I insane?
No, I think it's legitimate. Brayden Burries even said in the postgame that, one of the ways that he's kind of learned how to kind of get himself going if he's struggling shooting wise, because listen, he's a scorer. He wants to score. That's what really gets his boat running, right? But when that doesn't work, how else are you getting into the game? He attacks the boards. And sometimes when you get those boards, sometimes as a guard, when you get a rebound, you feel like it's free money. It's house money. I can do whatever I want with this ball right now, right? Like, now he's not going to do that, but that's kind of how you feel. And now, like you've got a +1 in the coach's eye because you got the rebound or the offensive board. Now, if you want to try and force the issue and get your shot, cool. If not, you want to pass it out, smart play, fine. And I think that's kind of what Brayden Burries is kind of learning as we go along. Now, remember, folks, the last time Arizona won the national championship, you know who some of their best rebounders were? the guards. Bibby, Simon, Dickerson were very good at attacking the glass, Jason Terry, and getting boards. And sometimes when they were going through their funks during the season, and remember, that team was not an elite team during the regular season, those rebounds helped kind of get them back into the flow of games. And as you got further down this into the tournament play, especially against a team like Kansas, you saw that to come to fruition against the best team in the country, who they were able to beat on their way to a national title. So rebounding from guards matters so much. And if you're not going to do it, well, there's other teams that will, and they're probably going to be playing in the Final Four.
Thank you so much, Saul Bookman. Of course, follow him at Saul_Bookman on all social media. As Kevin said, we got McKale Madness once a week. Tomorrow, it will be live, 7 p.m. Make sure that you guys mark your calendars for that one. The best in-depth breakdown of Arizona basketball with former Arizona Wildcat Corey Williams, Saul Bookman, and Kevin Thomas. It is a great time. Make sure that you guys, like I said, mark that calendar.
Damon, you know better than I do. Once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a very, very fair point there, Saul. Current Wildcat, Corey Williams.
Forever Wildcat, Corey Williams.
Forever Wildcat,
An
baby.
eternal Wildcat.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We appreciate you, Saul. Be safe driving back home to the Valley tonight.
See you, boys.
Of course, like I said, go give Saul Bookman a follow at Saul_Bookman. We're going to get into our final break here on the AZ Wildcats postgame show and finish up this one on the other side of this break. So do not go anywhere and drop a like on this video, please.
Look, Arizona can get it done. Whatever way you need them to win, Arizona men's basketball can get the job done. If you have a home renovation project, you want versatility, you want stability, you want strength like Tobe Awaka. And that is what the Window Depot has to offer. They're not just a window store. Arizona men's basketball, not just a basketball team, right? They do.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It's eternal. If you're a Wildcat fan, you're forever a Wildcat fan. And at Window Depot, they're more than just a window store. They're more than just a team of people putting stuff together. They're a collective, right? Contractors love the Window Depot because they do windows, doors, skylights, cabinets, countertops, sinks, and a whole hell of a lot more at the Window Depot. Their job site ready quantities and qualities will get you right the best price, the biggest inventory. Arizona made and locally trusted with 7 locations across Arizona and windows proudly manufactured right here in the Freedom State. So visit thewindowdepot.com and get started on your next project today, or stop by one of their, count them, 7 Arizona Freedom State locations and see for yourself why they're more than just a window store.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the pinnacle sponsors of this company, Kevin. It is Circle K. We are in Studio K, and we are, of course, all members of the Inner Circle Rewards membership program here at PHNX Sports. Why should you sign up? It's so simple. You save money. 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. 3 cents off per gallon every time you fill up at the tank after that, until you hit premium status like me and Kevin. And let me tell you, it's easy to hit premium status, and you'll save 5 cents off per gallon every single time that you fill up at the tank. All you got to do is plug in your phone number and you're done. It'll accept your Inner Circle Rewards membership, and you will get that savings right there at the tank. It's so simple. It's so easy to sign up. It's free. You download a free app, Kevin. You plug in an email, you choose a username, you do a password, and you're done. The savings are right there in front of you. All those gas savings. There's, of course, Inner Circle Rewards days where you can save 40 cents off, fuel days, where they do those about once a month. You gotta be on the lookout for those. 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, all types of meal deals. You name it, the savings are there for Inner Circle Rewards members. We all know in the great state of Arizona, and really just anywhere, Kevin, Circle K is a staple. It is America's thirst stop for a reason. And we know that you have a Circle K right near you. So get ahead of those savings. Become an Inner Circle Rewards member today by joining that Inner Circle for free. Download that Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Shout out to our friends over at Circle K. Shout out to genuinely every single person in the chat, as Damon says, as he wanted to do during
I told
the cold
Kevin
open.
pre-show I wanted to find a way to get that in here today. I don't know why, but we made it happen.
It just felt like the right decision, and damn it, he did it. I love the air horn recently. I think I might just keep it as a staple of this here podcast. But Damon, do we have anything else specifically on this game before we get on out of here, before we start to kind of spin it forward?
Well, first off, I wanted to say
West
shout
Virginia?
out to the chat. What a great presence from the chat tonight. Appreciate everybody for being here. Please drop a like on this video. Help run up these likes. We do have a good amount of likes in here tonight, but I think we can get to 70 before this show's over. Let's pop up to 70 likes. We need 18 more before this one's over. We got over 100 people in here. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us on a Arizona Cincinnati post-game show. Great work by Saul Bookman tonight, as always, and great work by my guy Kevin Thomas. So please show your support, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and we really appreciate having you guys in here, keeping it lively, keeping us on our toes. It really does mean the world to us from the bottom of our hearts. Yeah, no, from the bottom of our hearts, it really does. And from Michael Lev, we do have a quote from Tommy Lloyd that I wanted to read, talking about Anthony Dell'Orso. When asked about one slumping ADO, Tommy Lloyd said, "Hang with it. I have a real strong belief that we're going to get the best from Delly when we need it." And I think that is kind of the way that I feel about the situation. And I'm not going to say that I will go as far as Tommy Lloyd will be like, when March hits, we're going to get 20 points a game from Anthony Dell'Orso. I'm not saying he's saying that, but you know what I mean? I do have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion, right, that the once incredible sharpshooter who I believe is like the only college player in X amount of years to shoot over 40% in 3 straight years from 3 or something like that. I think that guy has not forgot how to shoot the 3 ball. I think that guy still knows how to get his shot off in a game. He's going through a slump right now. All shooters do. And I do think that as we continue in Big 12 play, as Edgar says now, I'd rather have this slump happen now than in February. And if this slump continues, I'd rather have it happen then than in March, right? So, yeah, patience as we had with Brayden Burries with one Anthony Dell'Orso. I get that it's different, but same principle of patience. I did this because Tommy is just as steady as it gets, I feel like, at all time. He's not going to get too high. You know, if Delly was, gave you back-to-back 30-point performances, I don't think he's going to go up there and be like, this guy's our leading scorer now. He's the team. He give him the rock on offense and part the Red Sea. Get the hell out of the way. But he's, he'd probably be like, yeah, Delly's, he's had a good run. He's had a good run. He's playing good basketball right now. He's playing within the system, exactly how we want him to. And I think that's how it's going to be in the low moments as well. Is I believe in Delly. This team believes in Delly. He's going to figure it out, and he's too good of a shooter not to. And I think that's just, there's ebbs and flows, especially with shooters. Like we almost had the same discussions last year about Anthony Dell'Orso, with the difference being he probably was more important to what the outcome of games was last year for Arizona, whether or not he was hitting shots. But he was also like worse, right? Yeah. And I think like better. And I think that's a big part of it, right? I think like to your point, Damon, last year with these Delly moments where maybe he didn't shoot the best, you were asking as a fan, at least I was. I'm not going to speak for everybody in the chat here, but I was asking as a fan, like, can we bench this guy for the next couple minutes because he's not really bringing much on the defensive end. And he's not really facilitating for you, and he's not really rebounding for you. He's just missing threes. This year, he's missing threes, but I feel obligated to come on this podcast and tell everyone, like, yeah, he's not shooting threes well, but he hasn't stopped defending. Yeah, he's not shooting threes well, but he hasn't stopped trying to pass, rebound, and get involved in the game in other ways, right? So he's a good passer. He's a legitimately good passer. Yeah, and I do think that the improvement outside of his shot this year is what's keeping him on the court in these games and making Tommy Lloyd feel like, no, I'll keep giving him minutes and I'll, keep Aristote in the spot that he's at. Because I think if this is last year, Tommy Lloyd says, all right, man, you're going to the Aristote spot and Aristote is getting your PT because I can't have you out there not defending. I can't have you out there missing threes at the same time. Aristote can go miss threes, but he'll defend like a dog. You know what I mean, right? Like Not tonight. But, I think Delly will be fine, and I think that his improvements from last year to this year are what is propelling him forward in the Big 12. Like, he's not worried about is he strong enough this year. He's just worried about can I do what I do best? And I love him in that spot, right? Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do think that, it is a situation where he is playing better team basketball, and so Tommy is, there's going to be a longer leash there. The only time that we really didn't see that was against Utah, right, where he was just yanked, and it was like he's not going back out there on the floor. And I think in pretty much every other circumstance, even when he's missing shots, he's still, seeing playing time consistently. Just follow me here, because this is a thought that I haven't really fully thought out myself as I'm doing here live on the show with you in the chat. But I thought the was because I said something very astute, but really it was the light bulb popped off. You turned on the light bulb in Kevin Thomas's brain. But you sparked the light bulb. I was going to say, like,
we're talking about Dell'Orso changing from last year to this year and getting better and being more involved defensively and being more involved offensively, right? And Saul has been telling us all year, it's almost like he doesn't have the legs on some of these shots. And every time he says that, I'm not going to lie, I'm taken aback. I'm like, legs? We're in January. What is bro tired for? We have 3 more months of basketball to go. He better get ready, right? But I'm thinking, what if we combine the two ideas? What if the reason Anthony Dell'Orso is slumping is because he's gotten better at the general game of basketball, which means what? Which means he's now being asked to do more on a night-to-night basis out there on the court, which means what? Which means he might actually be getting gassed earlier in these games. I'm not saying gassed like he's over there like, Jimmy Butler meme, but like in terms of a guy who has only played one way his whole career, right? And then now doing more. Do you think that could be part of it? Like, do you think he's getting in these moments where he's just slightly a little bit more out of breath from playing harder defense on the other end, or slightly a little bit more out of breath for running around on offense a little bit longer? Am I crazy?
Yeah, it's possible. I think, the intensity level on defense, especially off ball, like I know at Campbell, if you were to look through his stats, I'm sure he played majority of his minutes at Campbell, right? Like he probably played way more than the minutes he plays here, but he also probably was not tasked with, and this is, speaking from not a place of knowledge, but I'm assuming he wasn't tasked with defending the opposing team's best player on every given night.
Certainly not a player that could play in the Big 12.
They probably wanted to conserve his energy and give him the opportunity to be a little bit more of the offensive engine of their team, right? And so I do think that maybe there's something to that of like, yeah, maybe his added effort on defense and just level of focus on defense is contributing a little bit to a fall off in the 3-point shooting department. But that being said, like he's got to figure that out because his role is to shoot threes. Like that is your job, and it was also your job to elevate your game in other areas to get better where you could be on the floor more consistently, and Tommy trusted you more in these circumstances. But your number one job is still to hit these outside shots. So got to figure out a way to like kind of bring it up along with it, right?
Edgar has the solution, man. We got to get this boy some VC so that he can go to the training facility and get the Gatorade packs to have extra stamina for the next game. Jay Meisner with a $10 super chat.
Dude,
Thank you.
Those packs were so good, by the way, in real life,
fire.
By the way, the fruit chews. Like I don't know why those were energy chews more than like a regular fruit snack, but I'm telling you, I would pop one of those things. I thought I had superpowers when I'd go out there and like play baseball. I'd be like, don't worry, guys. I got my Gatorade shoes. Sprint out onto the field. Those things were fire, dude. One of those like the
don't worry, guys.
The
I got
plastic,
my Gatorade.
The plastic like pack of those as well, like the refuel, plastic ones that were you'd have to like squeeze them out. Same thing. Like, oh, I had one of those. All right, I'm about to be an absolute superstar today.
Jay Meisner in the chat wants to know, when are we doing the 24-hour cast? During March Madness at some point. The more prominent question is, when are we going to crash that football podcast that Anthony Totri does?
Maybe we just got to crash it and remind them who won the cup, because I feel like they forgot.
Should we frame the photo of the boys with the cup like how we did with the T-Mac catch over Travis Hunter, and then just run it in there and be like, got you a gift, and then just leave it in his lap and then kind of laugh at him a little bit?
Well, I do have that Territorial Cup poster in the in the office. Maybe we get that in a frame. Maybe we go in like in the middle of their show and like place it somewhere where you can very clearly see that and be like, oh yeah, just doing some studio renovation. No worries, Shane. All good. See you guys. And then just walk away maybe.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
That's unbelievable commitment, Kobe. A 24-hour stream sounds fun. I'll be watching all 24 hours.
Kobe,
24 hours is enough time for you to get your ass up here and participate, Kobe.
I was gonna say call in, but Kevin's right. You might need to come up in person.
Make a trip. Bring Erica. Make a trip of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have people taking shifts during the 24-hour stream because you got to keep Kevin and Damon entertained eventually. After we reach about probably, I'm guessing about 12 to 16 hours is when it's really gonna get rough.
Yeah.
And we need to chug through those moments. I took a graveyard shift on the ASU 24-hour stream that they did. I showed up at like 2 a.m., played a bunch of games with the boys, skunked Totri with U of A on Totri's own stream with the Big 12 champion Sun Devils that he was, apparently propping up. Apparently that's a big accomplishment or something. Not when Noah Fafita and Tetero McMillan come to town, Kevin, because we're whooping that ass in NCAA 25. But we're going to need some graveyard shifts out of some people. Absolutely.
Right. Can we end this podcast with something that will put a smile on everyone's face here in this chat?
Yeah.
Bobby Hurley is unraveling at the seams. And no, I'm not talking about his tie that he ripped off last year and it's probably all torn to all hell. I'm talking about his team, his level of ability as a coach, his belief in himself as a coach is absolutely unraveling. I do want to pull up this quote because I do not want to misquote the legendary Bobby Hurley, who does deserve an extension at Arizona State University, when he said after tonight's loss to upcoming Arizona opponent West Virginia, see how it all ties in back together, he said, "We have not played well here in years, like since before COVID." It was a home game tonight, by the way, for ASU. "We don't win here."
I thought you were talking about West Virginia at first.
No. And it gets worse, Damon. Just bear with me here. I'm going to restart from the top.
Here? It's your own arena.
From the top. Here we go. Quote, "We have not played well here in years, like since before COVID. We don't win here. We don't give our fans any reason to show up with enthusiasm to think we're going to win a basketball game. It's not a home court advantage." Now, he would go on to say, and this was put out by PHNX Sun Devils, said, quote, "We failed. I'm failing. I can't get through to the team. I don't know what else I can say."
Wow.
I mean, clap it up. And with all due respect to anyone who has forgotten more basketball than I know, has played basketball, has coached basketball, has held the basketball in a competitive environment, I feel very, very, very good about Bobby Hurley coming out and saying, "I can't freaking coach. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I can't get people to show up to games. I can't get my players to show up to games. Hell, I don't even want to show up to games. I stopped wearing suits because I'm depressed and I just don't give a damn about Arizona State basketball anymore. Hey, I'm going to go coach as an assistant with my actual successful brother who I will always be in the shadow of. Or I will go to a crappy Big East school and maybe make a tournament once every 6 years, and then people will be like, remember Bobby Hurley? Wow, he used to coach at ASU, didn't he? Whatever happened to that guy? Oh, I don't actually know anymore. I think he's up in the Big East somewhere." I love it. He's failing, and he knows he's failing, and he's telling us he's failing. I said it with Jerome Tang the other day on Twitter. I love when a coach tells you why they should be fired before they're fired. I love it. I tell me why I should fire you. If I'm your boss, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, you failed. You're halfway through the year, you're saying you failed? Past tense, it's over? We're done? You're saying we haven't given people a reason to show up since COVID? Brother, that's a half a decade ago. That's all I got. I knew we could all get a laugh out of that. No, he's dead. The pulse, no more pulse. The pulse.
No pulse. Time of death, 10:56 p.m. Wednesday, January 21st, 2026.
Man.
That's when Bobby Hurley's career at Arizona State University truly took a confirmed death, Kevin. And we all knew it was headed this way, but that is a dead man talking right there. Like that is not a guy that is going to continue to have a job. He knows that he's leaving ASU, so he's going to unload the clip on the way out. And what's that? Our fans suck. No one shows up to our games. We can't win here. This place is a dump. Like, he's going to unload the clip. He's letting the choppa sing on the way out, Kevin. That's Bobby Hurley on his way out of Tempe. And Seton Hall Bob has a nice ring to it, Edgar. It really does. Seton Hall Bob, back to New Jersey. Back to the old stomping
We're kicking out
grounds.
Shaheen Holloway just like that?
Dude, Shaheen Holloway stinks. Is he even the coach there anymore still?
Yeah, right? Isn't he?
I think he might have gotten fired, bro.
No, that fast?
No, he's still a Seton Hall coach.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
stink,
yeah.
though, dude. It's been long enough.
What are they doing this year?
We know they're not good.
What are they doing this year?
He's been the coach for a few years now.
Man, they're 14-5 this year. They've been ranked.
Bro, they were 7-25, 2-18 last year.
It takes a long time to get you. Shaheen Holloway can do this job.
0 tournament appearances. Get Seton Hall Bob in there, and you're going to see some damn tournament appearances.
He's going to get a tournament appearance this year.
Maybe 14-5 in the Big East isn't necessarily screaming tourney team. He's 4-4 in conference. You know what? I'm campaigning for it. Seton Hall, if you guys want to be back as a program, Bobby Hurley's your man. And we all know it. We all know it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, as Sean says, that's a full rebuild. Give the man some slack. He got the Peacocks to the dance. If he can do that, he can do anything.
He can't get the damn Pirates to the dance, though.
He's working on it. He's working on it. Now, have they dropped 3 straight conference games? Maybe. But they played Butler, St. John's, and okay, well.
I'm telling you, dude, get Bob in the Northeast and watch him go to work.
Man, I don't want to see him go to work, to be honest.
ASU is a graveyard for every basketball coach. Like, genuinely.
Yeah.
It's hard to be really good at ASU. Look at Herb Sendick at Santa Clara. He's great. He's really good when he's at like a solid program like that plays in a legitimate conference but not a power conference. Like, ASU is just a bad job. And honestly, moving to the Big 12 makes it a worse job. Like, that's the truth because now the path to success is a lot lower. Right?
As AZ Cat Dan says, they need to go back to the Pac-12.
Bobby Hurley was that's funny. Bobby Hurley was, he has like a 3rd place finish in the Pac-12, a 5th place finish in the Pac-12. Like, he has multiple top half finishes. I'm not sure it's really possible for ASU to like ever finish in the top half of the Big 12. I mean, we'll see, what they do with their next coach and whatnot. I'm sure they'll get a push to be decent and we'll see if it's sustainable. But I'm not sure that that's a program that anyone really could be that successful at. I've said that many times, especially when your in-state rival is what it is. And why would anyone who lives in Phoenix ever want to play at ASU versus Arizona? It makes 0 sense to do that. I just think that, I want to see Bobby Hurley. I think funniest scenario is Bobby Hurley goes somewhere he thrives. I'm the biggest Bobby Hurley guy in the world all of a sudden. He goes somewhere and now we're laughing at ASU going, you guys fired this dude? That's a hell of a ball coach.
Yeah, but see, then I gotta do the second half and admit that he's a good basketball coach, and I refuse to do that. I refuse.
Yeah, but it's more personal for you and Bob.
I just don't believe that he's good at his job. I don't think he's good at his job, and I don't like the cut of his jib. Carl with a very nice comment. Guys, I've been sick all day, and this podcast, along with the game tonight, has been my medicine. Love you guys and this elite chat crew. Well, we love you.
Much love,
back,
Carl. We appreciate it, my guy. And much love to everybody here in this chat, rocking with us, hanging out with us for a Arizona Wildcats post-game show as the Wildcats end up throttling Cincinnati by 26 points in a game that was pretty close, especially in that first half. But when you're the number 1 team in the country, it is pretty tough to take that team down, even when they're not on their A game, and we saw that tonight. Kevin and I are going to be live again tomorrow, 2 p.m., Friday show, AZ Wildcats pod, right here on this very same channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Turn those notifications on for when we're about to go live. And, of course, like this video, like all these videos, and check out our Big 12 tier rankings, Kevin, that we posted here on the YouTube channel that we're going to be putting out every single week here on PHNX Sports. The road to 50K continues. We're less than 1,000 subscribers away from that big 50K number, and if you can help us get there, please do so. Please become a diehard, get in this Discord, get yourself a free Redline t-shirt in the process, and, of course, follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media. Follow Kevin at KevoPosts. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. And like I said, all roads lead back to PHNX_Wildcats on all social media, except for TikTok, where we're at AZ Wildcats Pod. Anything else before we get on out of here, Kevin?
Shouts to 10 Toes Down Media. We do indeed have a banger card this weekend. Paddy the Baddy, lads. He returns.
We got to get in the Discord on the that's the perfect thing for the UFC talk. A little bit of Discord UFC talk.
It really is.
Maybe a little bit of members only content,
Ooh.
Kevin. God, maybe Damon and Kevin sit down. They preview the betting card. They maybe put a parlay together if anyone's interested in that.
I mean, as you know, that's just me burning people's money because I can't bet on MMA worth a damn.
That's what I'm here for. It's the only thing I can bet good. Otherwise, I do burn my money alive. But yeah, if you become a supporting club member, maybe we can make that some members only content for you guys. And Kevin and I can go ahead and break down some fights. Only $5 a month to become a supporting club member, and it helps us out a lot. We got guys like Carl, Sean, AZ Cat Dan here in the chat, Harvey Manfred Jensen, Deborah, of course, who are supporting club members, and they get to rock with those emojis, have a good time with us all the time. So appreciate everybody for watching this one. Give Kevin a follow, give me a follow. And give us a follow at PHNX_Wildcats. We'll be back on tomorrow's 2 p.m. Friday episode of the AZ Wildcats pod. But until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Arizona had to break out the Grandma Hannah offense tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.